1.
Oh, welcome to the Fourth Line Podcast, part of Full Press Radio. This is January the 11th, 2021. With you today is myself, Carl, and Stevie Nick.
Just realized that's a countdown to the NHL season. We're 3 days away.
That's true. And
3,
you know
2, 1.
If people don't listen to it until tomorrow on Tuesday, then it'll be 2 days.
They can skip the first second.
And then, you know what? If they don't finish it till the next day, good news. It's the day of. Wait, do you count the day? Because it starts on Wednesday.
Yeah, I guess yesterday would have been 3. All right, let's scrap this. Let's start over at 2.
All right. Well, welcome, Nick.
Thank you.
I hope you're doing well today.
I'm doing well, but I had a bit of a mishap before the show started. You want to hear about it?
Oh no. Yes, absolutely.
So yesterday, my sister-in-law came over for a garage visit because we haven't seen them since Christmas, and she brought over some cupcakes for us. And I just went to eat one before we logged in to do this show, and I bit into it and realized it was one of those hot chocolate balls, you know, that you like pour hot milk or water into, and it makes hot chocolate.
Yeah.
So I bit off half this chocolate thing, and there's a bunch of chocolate powder coating my tongue. So I'm amped up and ready to go. Sugar high.
You're just straight lining that.
Let's go.
I like that. I had a similar mishap. My sister worked at Starbucks, and apparently a classic trick I did not realize is to give like the espresso when they come out of the little thing looks like a little, like the 2-bite brownies.
Yeah.
And so they said, "Hey, do you want a brownie?" I said, "Free brownie? Absolutely." And just popped the entire, because no one eats a 2-bite brownie in 2 bites. That's a 1-bite brownie. I popped the whole thing straight in my mouth and then just stood there and ate it because I wasn't backing down at that point.
Oh man, that feeling of like ground coffee on your tongue is the worst.
Yeah. I didn't mind it too bad, but
were you amped up after that?
I ate an entire thing of espresso grounds. So I feel you. I feel the energy, and I'm glad and ready because we've got a lot happening this week. We are starting the NHL in 2 days, 3 if you count differently. 1 if you're listening to it on Tuesday. Wednesday night, this season gets fired up, and I'm excited.
I cannot wait. There's 3 games Wednesday? And one starts super early too.
Yeah, one starts so early I can't watch it, which I'm thrilled with. And then we've got one starting a normal time, 7 o'clock Eastern time, and then we've got a late game that night. So it'll be good.
Yeah, the North Division getting kicked off. Habs versus Leafs.
Yes, and also 5 games that night.
5 games, not 3.
5 games. The late games, because Tampa gets started that night. We got Vancouver Edmonton that night, as well. Colorado St. Louis is the late game. So big day.
That was one of those weird like recording over the internet moments where I thought you were going to keep going, and then you thought I was going to go, and then nobody went.
No one did. All right, so let's get to one thing that is not going to be happening. Is actually, let's go to the news. Let's go to some news from today first, actually. Gary Bettman and the NHL said that they will be losing billions of dollars by playing this season, that they are better off if they didn't play at all. Which begs the question, if you're better off not playing at all, why are you playing?
Because they're better off playing. They can't go over a year without people watching their product.
That's what I love about this. It's like we'd be better off not playing. I mean, you're either the worst business people ever, or you're actually not better off not playing.
Yeah. So can I read this quote, because I think it's kind of funny, and then I'll tell you what my favorite Twitter GIF of it is. And yes, I say GIF. Gary Bettman says, "Let me make something really clear. We're coming back to play this season because we think it's important for the game, because our fans and our players want us to, and it may give people, particularly in isolation or where there are curfews, a sense of normalcy and something to do. It would be cheaper for us to shut the doors and not play. We're going to lose money at the club level and the league level by by playing than by not playing. So my favorite Twitter gif for this quote is that one from Zombieland where Woody Harrelson's using the cash to wipe his tears.
That's a good one.
Come on, man. Who's buying this?
There's no reason. There's no reason that there is a very, very big reason so that they can come back and claw back money from the players. And I don't doubt that they are losing money this year. But if in the long run it was actually a worse idea for you to not play, you wouldn't.
Yeah, they can't go a year without having hockey on.
No.
Just think about the amount of casual fans you would lose because they just forget.
Yeah. Oh, that's a thing that is happening apparently.
Yeah, you'd have to work so hard to get to recruit when you came back. It's not worth it. Like, yeah.
I mean, I would not look. The NHL and Gary Bettman know exactly what happens when you lose an entire season, and they know that this is not worth it.
They don't even need to run that scenario in the Situation Room because they literally did it.
Like, hey, what happened last time we did that? Oh, not good. All right, let's not do that again then. Okay, cool. Yeah. So, sure, I expect some very interesting negotiations from players and owners as we move forward into next season and the year after and for the untold future.
Yeah. It is very nice of Gary, though, to be thinking of the people in isolation.
Yeah, and the people in quarantine. He's doing it for them.
Yeah. Yeah, he's doing it for those who sit at their kitchen table under poor lighting and have to take Zoom meetings. That's who he's doing it for.
He's doing it. He's doing it for those who have to have grudge meetups and bite into hot chocolate bombs thinking they're cupcakes.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you.
Dallas Stars, though, will not be starting this season. Their season has been delayed after a significant outbreak of COVID. When they canceled them, they, at the time, had 6 players and 2 staff members test positive for COVID, which meant the facility was shut down. Still not back practicing. The Stars are not. They're hoping to at some point this week, but their schedule has been pushed off until at least January 19th.
I mean, we kind of knew what was going to happen. I think the other thing Bettman said today was they left a little bit of room in the scheduling to accommodate for incidents such as this one. So, they obviously have, a plan here, but I don't think it's going to be the only delay over the course of this season. So
no, I mean, we have, if you look at, it's going to be the comparable that we have. The NBA has been going for 2-3 weeks now. They have games canceled yesterday. They have games canceled today involving 2 entirely separate teams. And now, the NHL, we laughed when the NBA, maybe not laughed, but we scoffed and said, look at this. This is how poorly this is going to work. When the NBA made it to day 2 before they had to cancel a game, the NHL was like, hold my stick.
Day -7.
Yeah. Because we're not even going to make it. So.
Yeah. So I personally like Bill Daly's quote about how the league is still trying to get their arms around how the spread occurred, as if we don't have 12 months of data on how this virus spreads. It's pretty clear how it occurred.
You've got to wrap your arms around that.
Yeah.
Well, and so those games were going to happen in Florida. So they're missing 2 games against the Panthers, 1 game against the Lightning, and then another one. The Lightning were originally one of the teams that were going to have fans in the arena, and with the current situation in Florida, have scaled that back and have said that they will not be having fans at the arena there, which, I mean, they would love to have. I'm sure they would love to have people at the game to raise the banner for, but no dice.
No, and I don't know if you know this, but they're going to be losing a lot of money by not having people in the stands. So,
are you really?
Yeah,
Interesting. I hadn't heard that.
Yeah. Well, the amount of money starts with a B.
With a B?
Yeah.
A butt ton.
A butt ton of money.
That was Gary Bettman's official quote. I don't know if you saw this one. Again, the thought is there. The execution might not be the best. The St. Louis Blues have invited a number of people that they feel, deserve a little something extra. The St. Louis Blues are one of the teams that will be able to have fans in attendance. And they thought, you know what we should do? Let's invite 5,000 of our closest and nearest healthcare workers to come and attend a game. So that's what they've done for opening night, is invited 5,000 healthcare workers, Nick.
Now, are these the only people that are going to be at the game?
I do believe that for that one, they are having it exclusively for healthcare workers.
Okay, so that's a little better. Because if they were going with, the general public, then I would be worried.
Yeah, I mean, there's no chance that any of those healthcare workers already have COVID, so that's fine, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's right, Carl.
How it works. I'm just using Bill Daly as my source here. He said that we don't know how it works, so I'm just going to follow him. So we'll see. The Stars, they're at best getting back on the 19th, and I would not be surprised as we go forward. I mean, we saw Canucks canceling practice yesterday. The number of teams are having issues getting fired up. So we'll see as we get closer how many games do get canceled this week, but definitely something to pay attention to.
Tell you what my Twitter feed reminded me of the last 3 days. Inter-team scrimmages did not get canceled. There were a lot of those happening.
And inter-team scrimmages are one of my favorite things. Like, preseason games are a great thing to overreact to, but inter-team scrimmages are my favorite thing in the entire... we overreact to so many things, but watching someone look really good when their opponent is yourself is one of my favorite things.
It's so true, but how do you stop yourself? I was watching one of the Red Wings ones, and the team that had Larkin, Mantha, and Bertuzzi on it lost 6-3, and I was like, this is garbage. Those are our best players. How are they losing to the worst players? I could feel the anger rising in me.
Yeah.
But then in Canada, you have TSN broadcasting the Leafs scrimmage. I don't know if it went nationally, but they had the full color commentary, and it was very dramatic.
Yeah. Did it go to a shootout, or they just held a shootout?
No, they just held a shootout. The shootout's going to be pretty important for teams this year, because every game, the extra point is against a team within your division.
It's true. Making all those then become 6-point games.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I would say, it would be more important to force overtime to not happen. I think in a lot of those games, one thing we see a ton, right, is those games where there's, 5, 6, 7 minutes left in the third period and the game's tied, and you're like, these jerks are playing for overtime and I have to watch it. That's not a thing anymore, because you're always playing your division.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So it'll be the 3-on-3, I think, is going to be super intense this year. It's always intense, which is awesome. And I think the shootout's going to, as much as I hate the shootout, it's going to make a difference in a couple areas, I think.
Yeah. Well, you get that one extra point, and in a small schedule, it's going to be even more important. A couple signings this week. Mathew Barzal finally did it. He signed the New York Islanders.
He did. This has been the off season of bridge deals. Yeah. And it was another bridge deal. It was 3 years, I believe, at $7 million per.
Yep.
So 3 times 7 is $21 million total.
That is true. Yep. The final year of that deal clocks in at $10 million, which is what will set him up for arbitration. So if he gets qualified, that will be the number that he is qualified at, $10 million. Mathew Barzal setting himself up for a nice non-bridge payday.
Putting the Islanders about almost $6 million, $5 million, just over $5 million over the cap right now.
Well,
who's coming off?
Well, we saw. You saw the news of the day, didn't you? We should have really opened with this.
Did you get a notification on your phone?
You bet I did.
Oh boy. Break it to us, Carl.
Andrew Ladd on waivers. So he's getting sent down. But this is a team that I think we're going to be looking at some taxi squad finagling to get some of these higher price pieces on there so that they don't count against. But Mathew Barzal, I mean, obviously, like the fact that it's a shorter deal, so I get it. But the fact that they managed to convince him to make the same amount of money as Anders Lee is insane to me.
I agree. It's crazy. Like in a normal year, in a COVID-free year, when the world is normal, this guy gets more than this, right? I mean, long term,
he should get the 9.5, whatever deal that he deserves. Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of where you assumed it was going, but I don't know, man. Like, I think a lot of hands are tied this year with the way everything went down.
He should hold a press conference and talk about the millions of dollars he's losing.
Starts with an M, not a B. Sorry, Gary, we can't all be as rich. So Andrew Ladd I must have missed that one with the thousands of players that hit the waivers over the last 2 days.
I mean, there was a much higher profile New York Islander on waivers this week as Josh Hosang hit waivers.
Yeah.
And everyone said, well, how come my team's not going to claim Josh Hosang?
Yeah, I don't know. Do you want your team to claim Josh Hosang?
Yes, absolutely. I would very much want to be able to have, take a chance on a talent that's not there yet, and we can see what he becomes. Definitely.
I guess it's a free claim, right? You might as well.
Like, if you look, especially at because it's going to be in reverse order of standings, and for those teams at the bottom, what is the harm in it?
Yeah.
So, I think take a shot at him, see where he ends up, but not looking like we see too many because he did clear waivers today. So he cleared, no one claimed him. So we'll see where he ends up. Disappointing because again, taking a shot on someone who had that much upside and has only ever been in one organization, I think it gives us that opportunity to really just see what else he could do.
Some other high-profile names hit waivers, too.
Tell us more.
Corey Perry is one.
After Montreal being so excited about... Montreal Canadiens fans being so excited about bringing him in.
I'm pretty sure even I was like, that's a good deal.
I mean, it was league minimum. It's fine.
There was another name I saw, and now I'm not finding it on this list. Tyler Johnson went through again. I can't find. Oh, Louis Eriksson. That was the one that caught my eye.
Louis. Again, not that surprising.
Nope. But
we did get another contract signed. I don't know if you know this, but scoring 65 goals in the last 2 seasons, above 30 goal a season pace, is grounds for giving you about 20% pay reduction in COVID times. Mike Hoffman signed a $4 million deal, 1 year, $4 million deal with the St. Louis Blues. Again, steal of a deal for the team, but you got to feel for the guy.
Yeah. I mean, it puts him in the best position possible in that, this is a good team. He should be able to score a lot of points. So in theory, it sets him up for success in a post-COVID off-season market. His age is working against him a little bit, I think.
Yeah. 31 years?
He's 31 years. So he's getting into that territory where if he wants to go long-term, then the salary is going to come down.
And long-term, I see a 3-year deal would be kind of safe option for a team next year, right?
Yeah.
But I'd also like to take back something I just said. I said you got to feel for him. With the amount of things and difficulties that many people are going through during this time, I would like to say that I feel for those people. Yeah, I'm sure Mike Hoffman is not super happy, but sorry, Mike.
That's a good correction.
Just put that in the corrections and apologies segment at the end of the show.
That's great.
Which is when you go back and you just re-listen to the entire show.
I was going to say, we have one of those?
We don't. What? Oh, that's why I wrote that down. All right. NHL's also, they're going to be doing some outdoor games. We talked about the possibility of those, and they confirmed Lake Tahoe, which I know that the idea of Lake Louise was bantied about by some of us here. Lake Tahoe is where the NHL will be hosting their games. What do you think?
Like beside the lake, right? I'm pretty sure it's not going to be on the lake.
Okay, it's beside Lake Tahoe.
I think that the NHL is never going to walk away from their outdoor games. They just love their outdoor games.
Which is like, look, if you're losing a bunch of money, maybe like building a rink and bringing all these people to Lake Tahoe, not a great use.
But yeah, like what's the budget on that one going to be? Is it going to start with a B?
For sure start with an M.
So, you know what? Like, I actually think it's kind of neat. You're not going to have fans there, and this whole idea of it being in this kind of like surrounded by nature, secluded area, I think the presentation of it could be pretty cool.
Yes. Now, the actual idea then of playing the game on a lake, they could go to Canada and actually do that.
Could they, though?
Could you not?
Like, do you think that the ice would be high enough quality to meet their standards?
I assume that they would have to do a secondary flood of it. You couldn't just use what's there. They would have to...
And they'd have to build boards and all that stuff, right?
They have to build boards in Lake Tahoe. I assume there's not an NHL caliber rink just built beside the lake.
It's actually on the bottom of the lake, so when it freezes, it just pushes it to the top. So every year, it doesn't work. My science is off.
No, that's right. You nailed it.
That's how lakes freeze, right? From the bottom up.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, good.
So the artist rendering of this, which is what probably you saw, which led you to believe that it was not on the lake. Geography, not a strong suit. I did not realize that this was on the border of California and Nevada. Yes, that lake is not freezing anytime soon.
Okay, hold on. I didn't know that either, but I didn't see no artist rendering, but I just assumed they weren't going to let these players play on a frozen lake.
Yeah, it looks nice.
Oh my god, it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
So these guys are going to be playing hockey, and there's just going to be some hikers nearby in shorts and t-shirt.
Right?
Like taking pictures of birds or something.
Yeah.
They're going to hear this whistle off in the distance.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice. There's a little pickup game going on. Well, those guys really went all out. Like they have matching jerseys. Those look as good as the pros.
Yeah. Also, where did this ice rink come from in the middle of California?
Yeah. Well, that'll be nice for Lake Tahoe to not be able to watch this game. So
that's going to make this event even more expensive. Why wouldn't they go somewhere that's frozen already?
Yeah.
I don't understand this league. No wonder you're going to be losing billions of dollars.
If only there was lakes in the rest of North America that would be in a freezing situation. But, because I think it's proximity, right? Because it's in Nevada, so they have the Knights playing. They're playing against Colorado. And obviously for proximity, that's why they also had to fly Boston and Philadelphia across the country.
I don't know, man. I don't know what else to say. Are these games going to be like back to back?
I believe it's a Saturday-Sunday situation.
Okay.
But who knows? I mean, I assume at this point one of them will get canceled because of COVID, and they'll have to figure out what to do. So it is February 20th and 21st. So that is the Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, so that's coming up.
I mean, the entire season is coming up. It's almost the trade deadline. Remember, we have 2 more episodes until the elimination station starts. Like,
it's almost the playoffs.
This is playoff push. If the season ended now, let's take a look at the playoff standings.
So, like, in a normal season starting in October, would 56 games left would put us at what, after American Thanksgiving?
Something like that. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So this really is make or break time.
I mean, we're coming up normal time. We'd be naming All-Star game rosters here soon.
Yeah.
That voting would be coming out, and because that's middle end of February.
Yeah.
But instead, they replaced it with Gary Bettman's annual Lake Tahoe retreat.
We'll be able to watch from his cabin.
Yeah, exactly. All right. We have 2 divisions to preview this week, so let us get to that. But first, we're going to take a break. We're back. We have 2 divisions to preview, and we have given ourselves. We blew the budget on the Lake Tahoe time. We spent far too much time talking about Lake Tahoe. But hey, here we are. We're going to get to our previews. We're going to do the East Division first, which means we need to play our game for it. This is the last one. I mean, the North Division is going to be easy for you. The East Division. Can you name all 8 teams in the East Division?
Yes, I think I can. We have the Buffalo Sabres, the New York Islanders, the New York Rangers, the New Jersey Devils, the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Philadelphia Flyers, the Washington Capitals. Oh no, I'm missing one, aren't I?
Yes.
Oh, I was so confident. It's not Carolina. It's not the Floridas. It's not Columbus. It's not Chicago or Detroit. Oh no, who is it, Carl? Boston. Boston.
You did it.
Okay.
Boston.
We can end the show now. It's over.
All right. So we're going to rank this division from top to bottom. Bottom to top, actually. We're going to start at the bottom, work our way to the top. Is there a team here that stands out to you as the worst team in the East Division?
Would you believe the NHL site still doesn't have a division breakdown of the standings? Sorry, I was not prepared for this.
Yes, I would believe it. I think they spent all their budget on that artist rendering of the rink by the lake.
Okay. The East Division. It is going to be the New Jersey Devils.
Yes, it is. I agree. Especially as Corey Crawford announced his retirement this week. No longer going to be with the Devils. Yeah, I mean, he wasn't going to be the saving grace for them this year, but it was going to be an improvement over Corey Schneider.
For sure it was. So he signed that deal starting this year, like in this offseason, did he not?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't believe they're going to be punished for the cap hit.
Well, because he retired. So
yeah,
that will be not on the cap hit. So I mean, if they can go out and pick someone up. But looking at this team, there are a lot of pieces that they're still looking for. Nico Hischier not going to be ready to start the season, so they're going to be missing out on him. They then have, defensively, some holes. They did bring back Semi Vatanen this week, which is great for them to have him around. But lots of question marks.
He's a pretty middle pairing defenseman.
Yeah.
He's not going to push them over the edge.
Nope. And then, up front, you've got Jack Hughes, and a lot of not as much to get excited about.
Yeah, why were we all so excited about this team like 2 years ago?
Well, they brought in PK Subban.
Wasn't Taylor Hall playing on this team too?
Taylor Hall was on this team. They brought in Marcus Johansson at the time. They'd signed him. He's no longer with the team. They had, top picks, Nico Hischier. Then they added Jack Hughes. Everything was looking up.
Until it fell down.
Yeah. So I would say, this is going to be a team that's going to be competing with the Red Wings for first overall pick.
I would think so. Like, I look at this roster and there's a few pieces to be excited about, but like Jack Hughes is still way too young to carry this team on his shoulders.
Absolutely.
It's going to take a lot more than 19-year-old Jack Hughes.
Yes. And some big pieces like long-term Travis Zajac, likely his last year with the team. Kyle Palmieri, likely on the move as well. And then, former pickup Nikita Gusev, also a unrestricted free agent after this year. So a few pieces where they can, I don't know what the trade market is going to look like this year. I have no idea what teams are going to be willing and wanting to give up and who can, right, with cap hits and cap situations being what they are. But those are some pieces that I think some teams, maybe not Zajac at his price tag, but Kyle Palmieri, some teams should be looking at him.
Yeah, you would think so. I believe the same for Nikita Gusev too. He was another part of why we were all so excited about this team a couple of years ago.
The goose is loose.
They won those sweepstakes. I think PK Subban becomes even more tradable this year. How many times can this contract be traded? That's a fun game. But I don't know. I don't see them doing much. You mentioned Palmieri. They just gotta wait it out. Like, they're not in a bad situation when it comes to salary cap either.
No, this might be the first time that PK Subban's contract gets traded and that other team doesn't hold on to the entirety of it, right?
Yeah.
I can see that, especially if the Devils want to move him this year, they very easily can hold some of that money back and really up the return on that. So
yeah, I agree.
All right, so there you go, New Jersey. Welcome to number 8. At number 7, I'm looking at the Buffalo Sabres.
Yeah, agreed. The Devils and the Sabres are the easy basement teams in this division.
Which, it's unfortunate that we go from one Taylor Hall team to his new team. The big news out of this, we saw, again, overreacting to playing versus yourself. Big free agent addition from previous year, Jeff Skinner on the 4th line at practice this week.
Playing with Riley Sheehan and another guy I don't even remember whose name it was. Not a good look.
Certainly not. But also, what % chance do you think it is that Jeff Skinner opening night is on the 4th line?
Very low. And if he is, it won't be for long.
Yeah.
This is training camp. None of it matters. This is their opportunity to play around and experiment and see who plays well with who. I wouldn't read too much into it.
And aggressively try to get someone's attention if they're not playing up to snuff.
Yeah.
Right? Look, you want to play like that? This is what you're playing like. You're playing like Riley Sheehan. Figure it out.
Yeah, I think Jeff Skinner will climb his way back up the lineup pretty quickly.
Ownership there cannot have another expensive dud.
No.
The Bills just won a playoff game, so they probably don't even know what's happened with the Sabres.
You're probably right. That's how they managed to get Taylor Hall.
Like, what? What? The Sabres? Huh. Interesting. Who owns them? So, yeah, it's going to be tough. The Taylor Hall edition obviously makes them better, but still lots and lots of holes with this team that need to get fixed.
Yeah, which begs the question, when are they going to get it together? Like, how far away are they?
I mean, do they feel any closer than 3 years ago?
They don't.
Like, do they feel any closer than when Jack Eichel got drafted? Or does it feel further?
It feels like it's roughly in the same spot. Maybe a little further ahead. But you're right. And how many coaches have they been through since then? And how many general managers have they been through since then? Like, at some point, they gotta... I don't know what they gotta do. I was gonna say make a change, but they keep doing that.
Yeah. At some point in time, you need to just ride it out and do something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be another tough year. I mean, offensively, they made some good additions, right? Taylor Hall, Eric Stahl's there. Defensively and in net, it's the same thing that they rolled out last year. And Carter Hutton and Linus Ullmark, not enough.
Not going to cut it.
If you, unless you've looked already, look away from your screen. How old would you say Carter Hutton is?
Like 35.
Wow, really?
How old is he?
35.
Really?
Look at you. Look at
you. It's that hot chocolate powder.
All right. Now we're getting into... This is when this division gets tough for me. Is here. Because I don't know where to go. There's a lot of teams that could... Like, the playoff race in this division is probably going to be the best, closest one out of all of them.
So, I can give you two teams that I'm kind of mulling over.
Okay.
The first, which I think... Okay, I won't give any context. The first is the New York Rangers, and the second is the Philadelphia Flyers.
Really? Interesting. Okay. I mean, out of those two teams... Jeez, Nick.
Like, would you put Pittsburgh below them?
I don't know.
Washington?
I mean, I get, like, that's the thing. I don't... Boston's going to drop a bit this year. Philly is going to ride Carter Hart all the way to a Vezina. Pittsburgh. I mean, I would probably put Pittsburgh below Philly. Yeah, I would.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Right. So if we look at those two teams, right? Two teams that haven't really, like, off-season wise, pretty stable. Matt Murray gone from Pittsburgh, which, like, addition by subtraction potentially.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's gone. They got rid of Patrick Hornqvist. They won that trade somehow.
They did, yeah.
I mean, they also, but that also brings them in Mike Matheson. So maybe. I mean, they did that Kasperi Kapanen deal.
Yeah.
Trading some prospects. I liked that pickup for them. And then for some reason, Cody Cece's there. So those are their additions. If you look at the Flyers, their offseason additions are nobody. They're running out the same team, but, like, this Flyers team I thought, like, was better last year than Pittsburgh. This team had me more excited last year than Pittsburgh did. You may recall a certain Pittsburgh getting bounced out of the playoffs a little earlier than they should, and I would like to pretend that small sample size matters.
And what about Philly? How far did they go? I can't even remember.
I used that as an example and also could not remember. So,
I don't think Philly went very far either.
Philly lost to Montreal in the first round after... No, they beat Montreal. They lost to... I don't know. This is not the right bracket that I'm looking at here. They played Montreal in the first round.
In the, like, actual first round, or, like, in the
actual
quotations first round?
After Montreal beat Pittsburgh in the actual first round.
Ah, there it is. Yeah, okay. I remember now.
Yeah. So Philly played them, and they won, and then they lost to the Islanders.
I don't trust this Philly team.
I mean, they could certainly disappoint again, right? But I look at this Philly team, and I would put them probably number 3 in this division.
Number 3? Come on. Okay, so let's play the game you made me play the other week, okay?
Okay.
I'm looking at both of these rosters. How do I get rid of this thing? Okay. Would you rather have Claude Giroux or Sidney Crosby?
Sidney Crosby.
Would you rather have who's the right comparable here? Evgeny Malkin or Kevin Hayes?
Evgeny Malkin.
Jakub Voracek or Jake Gensel?
Coin flip.
Okay. James Van Riemsdyk or Kasperi Kapanen?
Kapanen.
Okay, let's look at some of their defensemen. Ivan Provorov or Chris Letang?
Provorov.
Shane Gostisbehere or Michael Matheson?
Gostisbehere.
Eric Gustafson or Brian Dumoulin?
Eric Gustafson? Eric Gustafson.
I don't know. So going through that exercise, I know we didn't go through the whole roster.
You missed one very key difference.
Who's that?
Carter Hart versus
so that's where I was going. Okay, I think the Flyers have the edge in goaltending. I think the Flyers have the edge defensively.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Penguins are better offensively.
Yeah, I would agree. So the Flyers are better in 2 out of 3 categories.
Therefore, they rise to the top. I'm okay with that.
Okay.
I'm glad we did the exercise.
Now that we've done that exercise, I'm very okay to put Pittsburgh or the Rangers at 6 here. I know you had the Rangers. I mean, the Rangers are going to be... They improved a bunch last year. They got better this offseason. They no longer have Henrik Lundqvist, which might actually make this team better on the ice.
I agree.
And they still need to finish taking those steps.
Yeah. That's what was just going through my head. They still feel very young to me.
Yep.
I don't think they have that experience yet. How are we projecting Alexis Lafreniere is going to do this year? Like, I have no concept of how he's just going to jump in and play. Is he going to be good?
I mean, 60 game season, 56 game season? What would that be? Like, we're talking... I would be impressed with him on like a 60-point pace normally.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So if he gets, what's that for this season?
That's like 1 point
40 point pace. So if he gets 15 and 25 this year, 15 goals, 25 assists.
It's not bad for a rookie.
Solid start for a rookie season.
Yeah. So if the discussion now is between the New York Rangers and the Pittsburgh Penguins, I would go Rangers at 6, Penguins at 5.
Okay. Rangers at 6. Which then has our playoff teams in this division sitting as Boston Bruins, New York Islanders, Philadelphia Flyers, and Washington Capitals.
So
I assume because I had to talk you out of putting the Flyers at 5 or 6 that you want them at 4.
I do, yeah. I kind of feel like looking at the Capitals team that they're probably pretty close. Whether it's going to be the Flyers or the Capitals who finish higher, I don't know. But I think the Capitals have the benefit of experience in winning, so that's why they're better to me.
Yes. I would say that big question marks in net for the Capitals this year.
For sure.
Like, with Henrik Lundqvist no longer there, and Ilya Samsonov having to take a significant step up from what he's been doing previously, I look at that and say, could they could be the team missing this playoff? Like, Braden Holtby, certainly he was not the Braden Holtby we've become accustomed to the last couple of years, but we have no idea what to expect from Samson.
Yeah, that one's going to be a little wild cardy.
Yes.
We'll see how, this team is good enough to be in the playoffs. So I kind of feel like they give Samsonov a small sample of games at the start of the season, and if they start to fall behind, I think this team will make a move to bring in a better goalie.
Interesting. It doesn't make too much of a surprise, which is a really terrible way to word that sentence. But yeah, you're right. I could definitely see them making some sort of a move. It would be a little like that early into the year. I'm not sure how many goaltenders, like what goalies do you think are available?
I don't even know. I couldn't tell you.
Okay. But if there was one available, you could see Washington making a move.
Yeah, I could. I just don't know what the right amount of games is to give him in a 54-game season.
Because they're not giving up on him yet. That's the thing, no. Right? Like, just because I say that I don't know if he's going to be able to do it. He did well enough last year, but he was not the bona fide number one guy, which he is right now. And you still want him around. You still want him. So that's going to be a thing, and they'll work their way through that.
Yeah.
That said, I think we're interestingly, but then like the Islanders, like, I felt like I was about to say, are we going to put the Islander or Philadelphia and Washington at 3 and 4? And then I was like, are we really about to put the New York Islanders second in this division? Is that what we're about to do?
Yeah. Yeah, you've been saying this for weeks, Carl. You have been saying that you were done underrating them, that they have arrived. They are here. This is them.
Huh. Is this what this looks like? The New York Islanders at number 2?
This is what it looks like.
I'm not sure if I'm ready for this.
I think you can do it. Pencil it in.
Well, I don't have a pencil. I just have a pen.
You still look at this roster, though. It's so funny because I'm reading these names. I'm like, no way.
That's the thing. Like, yeah, I'm putting them in a playoff spot. Absolutely. But do I really want to put them in at number 2?
They went to the conference finals last year.
Okay.
Did they?
They did.
Yeah,
because they beat the Flyers, right?
Yep.
Flyers beat Montreal beat Pittsburgh. I mean, this should be I guess this is how we should rank it, right? Again, based it off of the smallest sample size. Montreal beat Pittsburgh, but the Flyers beat Montreal, and then the Islanders beat the Flyers. So if we're using 7 games to make our decision for this 56-game schedule, then we have to go Islanders.
Perfectly logical.
I mean, this whole season just comes down to 7-game series that you just play against, and they're spread out, and you play everyone else a little bit.
Pretty much. It's just going to be one massive hot streak for some crazy team who nobody expected.
Right. All right. So, that said, Islanders in at 2. I said I wanted the Flyers at 3, which means the Capitals are at 4.
That's fine.
Okay.
And that puts the Bruins at number 1.
That puts the Boston Bruins as the winners of this division.
Which makes sense to me.
It does. But if there's going to be a year when the Bruins don't do it, this is it.
Sure.
Like, I could see the Islanders, like any team from 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, I could see them finishing in that order and would not be shocked. Like, they could move up and down through that column.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. We still have to do the North Division.
We got to do one more. We can do it.
So let's go over there.
It's Pirates turn.
Quickly, this is the one you don't even have to think about it. The 7 teams in the North Division.
Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg, Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal. I believe I did it from west to east properly. Is Calgary further west?
I'm not sure which one of Calgary and Edmonton are further west, but I also don't think it matters.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's just like a straight drive north.
Pretty much. I've done it plenty of times, and there's nothing other than north. I mean, you're also talking to a guy who learned where Lake Tahoe is tonight, so...
We're on the podcast where every week we have to pull up Google Maps to see what city is further west and east.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great question, though. Well, while we talk about this, I'll pull up an Alberta map.
Okay, so this is the all-Canadian division.
Yes.
Close to home literally home for us.
Yes. Calgary is more west. You did it, Nick.
Yes. Man, I'm on fire tonight.
So did you get Ottawa and Toronto correct as well?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, it goes Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal. I'm familiar with that part of the country. Yeah, it's very close for me.
You would have thought I would have known Alberta too, but here we are. All right. Bottoms.
This is an easy one, right?
Ottawa.
Yeah.
They got better.
I mean, I feel like they're always getting better. This team is like the equivalent of like, they're so cute because every year they do a little bit and you're like, aw, the Senators, they got a little better. They'll be able to compete a little more. They're still dead last in this division.
Yeah. I mean, they added they're getting better. We talked significantly about their additions of Paquette and Stepan and Braden Coburn in the last couple weeks. So won't dwell on that too much. As much as I kind of said that Matt Murray, the Penguins might be better off without him, the Senators are better off with him.
Yeah, totally agree.
So that's nice.
Now, he is a pretty volatile goalie, I find. Like, the one thing about the Sens I'll say this year is they're going to be a more fun team to watch with some of these young guys and their energy, and then just seeing Matt Murray be Matt Murray. They're going to be a fun team to watch.
I mean, especially if it's a game where Matt Murray's it, and all of a sudden they're down by a lot, and you just have to open the floodgates and let Tim Stützle and Brady Tkachuk have at her. Why not?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the year to do it.
Yeah, you literally have nothing to lose. So Ottawa is at 7. I'm looking at Montreal at number 6.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was leaning too. I was looking at either them or Winnipeg, but I think Montreal is the winner here. I think that Montreal, I mean, this is probably true of every team, but I think the Habs especially think they're much better than they actually are.
Yes. I definitely agree with you in that scenario. Because normally, great, they made the playoffs last year, but they were the last seed. It took a miraculous upset for them to do it. And you could look at the 3-game sample size or 5-game sample size against Pittsburgh when they won, or you can look at the entirety of the season and say, maybe that's more who they are.
Yeah, I would do the latter. I am doing the latter, and I think that's who they are.
Yeah. Max Domi, as a refresher, Max Domi out, Josh Anderson in.
An improvement? Maybe.
And it gives them something different, right? It gives them a little bit more of that size. And Montreal's a historically smaller team, so it gives them a little bit more of that. Tyler Toffoli came in here, though, so that's good for them. That's a plus.
Yeah.
They also brought in Jake Allen, which you can't go wrong. Hey, is this the goalie that Washington picks up?
Could be.
Montreal loses. Washington's getting desperate.
Could be. It's an attractive contract for someone like Jake Allen.
Yep.
You've got Carey Price. Don't need to worry about that one. Or maybe you do.
He's not going anywhere.
No, he's not going anywhere.
Defensively, very similar to what they rolled out last year. So improvements on this team, but still not quite there.
Yeah, and I think they're going to be more boring than Ottawa.
Yes, definitely. I mean, you've got some of these pieces. Nick Suzuki's a fun player to watch. I like watching him.
Yeah.
Kotkaniemi, a lot of fun to watch too.
Yeah.
Like there are some exciting pieces on this team, but as a whole, less so.
For sure.
I'm not super excited about watching 35-year-old Shea Weber. You could be, though.
Only to watch him wind up. Which feels like it happens less and less every year.
Yeah, it's true. All right. This is one. You had debated Winnipeg at 6. I think it comes down to here is a tie for me. I'm torn between Vancouver and Winnipeg.
Really?
Do you think Vancouver's substantially above them?
I don't know if they're substantially above them, but I'm way higher on Vancouver than I am on Winnipeg.
Sell me on the Winnipeg. Sell me on why Vancouver's better. Let's take a positive spin. What's so great about Vancouver?
I think they have a lot of young, not so young anymore, but still young players who are very exciting, who are very good. And I think, they brought in Holtby, which as you said, Holtby's not the Holtby that he was in years past, but I think he's still a starting goaltender in this league.
Well, and that's they also lost Jacob Markstrom, so downgrade in net.
Okay, where did Markstrom go?
Calgary. We'll get there.
Okay. They brought in Nate Schmidt, I believe.
Yep.
Quinn Hughes he was a finalist for the Calder. Yeah.
Big runner-up, though. I want to make that point known. Did not
Carl.
win it.
You want to just tell us? You want to take a minute?
I don't know if we want to call him Cale McCalder.
Oh, God. Oh.
But
I'm sorry, everyone.
I love Cale McCalder.
I'm sorry I egged him on. They brought over Tyler Myers from Winnipeg. And then up front, Elias Pettersson, Jake Virtanen, Bo Horvat, Brock Besser. They got a good team. I think they're a better team than Winnipeg. You're going to go to the goaltending, aren't you? Connor Hellebuck.
I mean, Connor Hellebuck definitely is a big piece of what I like about that team. I mean, he's the biggest piece of what I like about that team. Let me be clear on that. But I think we saw the Jets be able to have success last year. Hellebuck will not have the same success.
But that's concerning because they live and die by Connor Hellebuck because look at this decor.
Yep.
Look, Hellebuck has to be the Hellebuck that he was last year for them to finish above Vancouver, in my opinion.
So
they're not going to be one of those teams that outscores their opponent every game.
Do you think that Vancouver got better or worse this offseason?
They downgraded in the goalie department for sure. And then I guess any improvements they made was done internally of just players being a year older, getting another year of experience under their belt.
Toffoli's not on this team anymore. He's gone to Montreal.
Sure.
Nate Schmidt was brought in. Not really any. I don't recall there being any big pieces going the other way, but I could be misremembering that.
Don't think so.
This is something that, again, the season ended so abruptly that it became difficult for us to fully remember. Winnipeg finished ahead of Vancouver. Winnipeg they finished with 80 points. Vancouver had 78. The Jets had played 2 extra games, so I think like point per game, the Canucks might have beat them, but not whatever it is, they were close. Like these two teams were right there.
Yeah. Hence why we're debating it right now.
And so so if we assume that like the downgrade of Connor Hellebuck not having another worldly season, and then also Jacob Markstrom becoming Braden Holtby, I kind of assume that that's like a similar drop down in that.
Okay.
Then with what the Canucks have, what they added versus what the Jets have. I mean, the Jets are just rolling out the same team.
Mostly.
So, I don't know. Kind of seems pretty close.
It is pretty close. Since it's so close, do you want to do an actual coin toss?
Here's what I would... If I were to say it, the Canucks have more room for improvement. Their ceiling is higher than the Jets, so I would put them ahead.
Well, I think the Canucks are climbing and the Jets are going in the other direction over time.
Yes.
So, based on where they both finished last year, it seemed like they were kind of meeting each other at the halfway point on the mountain. Or sorry, maybe the Jets were a little higher, 2 points.
Thank you.
Whatever. So, I don't know. If it's not this season that the Canucks are surpassing them, it's next, but I think they're right there.
Yeah, okay. There you go. Jets at 5, Canucks at 4. Welcome to the playoffs, Vancouver, which leaves us Calgary, Edmonton, and Toronto.
Oh, this Edmonton-Calgary thing every year is harder than it should be.
So, as you pointed out, Jacob Markstrom now with the Flames. The Flames did get some significant losses. TJ Brody is now with the Leafs.
Yep.
They also lost Travis Hamonic, who's actually on a PTO with the Canucks. They brought in Markstrom. Outside of that, up front, they didn't make any additions up front. Offensively, they have lost some guys, but the rest of them are still there. Whereas Edmonton made what I think were some really good moves this year.
Okay. On Calgary, I will say the team, I feel like it's the same as last year, and I'm not encouraged by them.
Correct.
Yep. Okay. So tell me about Edmonton.
Edmonton brought in, they didn't bring in anyone like top 6 players, and they might turn into top 6, but that's not really the roles that they were looking for. Sure, it'd be great to have someone that's not named Zach Kassian on Connor McDavid's wing. Mm-hmm. Beggars can't be choosers. You get Connor McDavid, you also get Zach Kassian. But the biggest, Tyson Barrie, that I'm really hoping that they can find a way to let Tyson Barrie be Tyson Barrie and let him do Tyson Barrie things, because he's very good at that. I don't think that he showed up in Toronto and suddenly forgot how to be a successful player.
No. And I think his struggles in Toronto were well documented, and the reasons for those struggles were well documented, and I don't think he will be as smothered in Edmonton as he was in Toronto.
The reasons for his struggles is now joining the NBC broadcast. Did you see this?
I did see that. Although I didn't realize how aggressively hockey Twitter turned against Mike Babcock.
I remember. I mean, I was surprised that they made that choice. Like Grant, they definitely kind of sugarcoated it by being like, "Hey, we fully fired Mike Milbury, but also Mike Babcock is joining the show." And I was like,
not as bad as Mike Milbury. Come on.
No, not even close.
Yeah.
But their mic quota is still filled. So
I just don't think Mike Babcock's that good in front of the camera.
Well, there's that too. Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
I'll try it out.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So Tyson Barrie, I like that. Kyle Turris came in on a cheap little 2-year
deal. Yeah.
Donovan Cahoon. Jesse Puljujarvi is back as well.
He is.
So
ready to play, apparently.
Apparently, he's given it the old college try number 2. And so I look at some of those, and that just, you have that, you have the dynamic duo up front. Like if we're playing the game that we played with the Flyers and Penguins, offensively, it's not even close.
On paper, this team is so much better. But every year we're like, this is Edmonton's year. And every year they don't perform that well. What is it about this team? They should be making deep playoff runs.
They should. I mean, they made the playoffs last year.
They did, yeah.
They're going to this year.
They should, yeah.
I mean, granted, they have Mike Smith still, so who knows what's going to happen there.
Yeah.
But you've got a significant amount of pieces here that are good, improving, right? Some of the, Ethan Bear, Caleb Jones on defense, looking forward to what they can bring this year. I don't know. I'm excited about this team.
They should be good. They should be better than the Flames, for sure.
Okay, so them in at 2, Flames at 3, leaving us with Toronto at number 1.
Yeah. It's hard to argue that as much as I'd like to.
Now, this is a Toronto team that barely made the playoffs last year. I know that they lost to Columbus in that play-in round, ignoring a small sample size, but with a full year of Sheldon Keefe behind the bench and being able to not really have to fix what Babcock had broken with that squad, is that what's going to be the difference maker that sets them apart from the team that barely beat out Columbus?
What, Sheldon Keefe?
Well, what is it then? If we're putting Toronto at number 1, what is it about Toronto that isn't the team that couldn't get past Boston, couldn't get past Tampa in regular season, not even talking playoffs, that were the 4 seed in the playoffs last year, or I guess the 8? What is it about this team?
I don't know, man. They're cursed. You look at this roster and you look at their ages. These guys are, I'm talking about Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, William Nylander. These guys are going into their prime. Okay, well, you didn't know where I was going with that sentence. Clearly.
I mean,
Morgan Riley.
Joe Thornton's entering a different prime.
That's true. That is true. And apparently he's going to be playing on the top line of this squad.
As much as Jeff Skinner is going to be playing on the 4th line, yeah.
Madness. They added TJ Brody, which I thought was a really good ad for them because they need that help on the back end.
Yep. And it's not the Tyson Barrie addition that they made on defense last year.
No, TJ Brody's a different kind of defenseman.
Yeah.
He's the kind they need. Because Frederik Andersen is not a super sturdy goaltender.
No.
So this team didn't need to make a lot of changes. I don't know what it is with them. I don't know if it's a personnel thing. The skill is there.
I mean, because to play devil's advocate, we looked at the Oilers roster and you said, sure, on paper, they're great, but they just haven't shown it. On paper, this Leafs team's great.
Yeah, I agree.
But are we going to sit here and put 2 teams that look great on paper as 1-2 in this division?
Yeah, we are.
All right.
Yes, we are. Come on. Look at this top 6.
We're going to put the Islanders at number 2, and we're going to put 2 teams that look great on paper winning the North Division. Good on.
I don't know. I can't see it any other way for this division.
I could see, this division is not the strongest of divisions as well.
No.
There's a lot. And the difference between 8 and 7 teams is pretty significant.
Yeah.
When it comes to guaranteed 4 of them make it.
Yeah.
And even if that 6th team is another mid-playoff team, it kind of helps you give some of those other pieces, right? So, I don't know. It's going to be a tough year to really have a bona fide runaway winner with most of these divisions, just because of the length of the season. But I think this Canadian division is going to be one where at times it will look like who's trying to not lose. Like it's going to just who wants it. Someone try to take this division.
Yeah. So there it is. There's our rankings.
We did it. Any predictions? Like, what do you think? Anything that you think is going to happen this week that we haven't predict? Like, will there be a game missed? Yes, it's already happened. We do not need to predict that. The Stars have taken care of that. But if you were to say, what is one unexpected thing we could see coming this week, what would it be?
I think we're going to see some heroics from somebody you would never expect. Like, we're going to see one player score 3 or 4 goals in a game that you would never expect it from, like Eric Stahl or Jimmy Vesey. I have the Leafs page open on my computer. Like someone weird like that who you're never going to expect it from, and they're going to go on, they're going to score 3 or 4 goals in a game, and everyone's going to go nuts and say they're going to be the next big thing. They're having such a great season, and then they won't score for like 10 games.
Okay. Because this has been my whole thing through this entire show, has been like unnecessarily, maybe not even unnecessarily, but just like goaltending today really seems to be what's gotten me riled up.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that we are going to have both a Martin Jones and Devin Dubnyk shutout in opening week.
Oh, a shutout. That's worth how many high sticking points?
It's a lot. Look, this week we're going to pump the brakes on the games. Next week we'll be back with our official game for this season. Sound good?
That's a good idea.
Okay.
Sorry for bringing that up.
Yikes, Nick. I still have, according to you, I have 3 days left to get those packages in the mail like I said I would.
That's right.
It might happen. I mean, it's not my fault. The post office closes so much sooner now.
Everything does.
Everything closes so much.
Not your fault, Carl.
It's not. No. All right. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm excited. Wednesday, Nick. Wednesday
and Thursday and Friday and Saturday and Sunday and Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
It's here.
Forever. It's here. It's back.
One thing is, I'm excited. Have you heard of this app Locker Room?
No.
Okay, so it's like a chat. You go in and there's different topics and different people. Some amazing folks putting it together over there. But on Wednesday, I'm going to be I think I'm going to head back. I haven't been doing it because there's been nothing for games to talk about. But I think 8:30 Eastern time, if you want to head on over there, we're going to be talking hockey. So head on to that app. It's on the Apple App Store, and you can join in, talk about hockey, and just have a good time. So we'll see who pops in. There's always some possibilities for some fun and interesting folks there. But that'll be one of the ways I'm celebrating opening night. Do you have a snack of choice for opening night?
Oh, popcorn. But none of that microwavable popcorn garbage, okay?
No.
Stovetop all the way.
Really? Stovetop?
Oh yeah.
Interesting. So I also am not a microwavable popcorn. I haven't done it for years, but I have the popcorn popper machine. My good addition, someone recommended, you can get it's like an olive oil that's butter.
Yeah.
The butter olive oil, I do that, and then truffle salt on there as well.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, so that's
very fancy, Carl.
That's or chili powder as well as a good. If you want a little spice it up. So that'll be nice for you. I mean, quesos. I've got queso in the fridge. That's always a must.
Queso in the fridge and on the mind.
I made a delicious mac and cheese this week. It was good. Had some cheddar, some blue cheese, and what was my third type of cheese in there? I forget. It was good, though. Can't go wrong with cheese and carbs.
No. So macaroni and cheese is just like noodle queso.
I mean, instead of dipping chips in it, you're dipping noodles.
Yeah. Again, this comes up somehow every week. After never coming up before. Well, I hope... So wait, is that why you're having queso Wednesday night?
I might have to have queso, yeah. Or I'll probably... popcorn's a good bet, too. I still got some chocolate downstairs from Christmas. The cookies are gone, so maybe some chocolate.
All right, well, make sure it's the right kind of chocolate and that you don't need to melt it in milk or water or something.
No, I think it's it's peppermint bark.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Fancy.
Yeah, so it'll be good.
Good.
All right. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be here all week. We're definitely going to be ramping up on game nights. You can tune in. Nick's on Twitter at NickSagan19.
Yes.
And you can find the show at Fourth Line Podcast on Twitter as well. TheFourthLinePodcast.com is where you can find everything else you want to find about the show. Head on to the Full Press Radio app or iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Wherever you listen to shows, you can find it there. We'll be back next week. Enjoy the games.
Time for us to wrap up another Fourth Line show. I know what you're thinking. You don't want us to go. It's time for us to start watching some hockey. And we can think about how they lost all those bees.